Hello? Hear me now?
Yeah.
You hear yourself all right?
Mm-hmm. I can hear all my voices.
Good. Shall we?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to episode 91 of I'm Fine, a chat around the subjects of health, wealth and well-being between myself, Damo, and belated birthday boy, Mark.
Thank you.
Happy birthday for last Friday, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I do have your present on the way.
Okay.
Haven't got it here. I was hoping to have it in time for a grand opening, but I'm a little bit worried about it. I think it's going to be one of those ones that I give you and you go, what are you trying to say? I'm going to leave it there, but so we'll hopefully...
I've still got your Bazooka Joe. I look at him quite regularly.
Oh, yeah.
I've kept him in pristine so that in
the box?
When they have Antiques Road trip in about 80 years' time, it'll be worth a lot more because it's boxed.
Yeah, nice one. We're all work in progress and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's spoken our perfectly imperfect lives. And if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness. Madness isn't the word, Mark, is it? It's just not the word. I'm going to keep it in. But I don't think there are any words to explain quite how mad things are at the moment. Then our work here is done. Anything to say on that?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm clearly in time.
No, just not now.
Yeah.
Our reverse psychology not to follow us on the socials didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise.
Just because they're a flock of sheep, aren't they? They just do as they're told. Like the rest of the populace.
Yeah, for that episode only, everyone did as they were told.
Yeah.
So you can follow us on Instagram at imfinecast and search for all our episodes by category and tag on our website at imfinecast.com. Don't push that very much, but I tag the little episodes as they go on and you can search by various...
Yeah, I did look the other day.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And feel free to drop us an email at imfinecast@gmail.com. So, coming up in this episode, it's part 2 of 2 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But it might well be part 2 of 75.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know.
Yeah.
So, looking at addiction, and yes, I know the last episode was 35 days ago, but we'll come to that in a minute.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, no. Language.
Sorry.
Keep listening. My mum's listening.
Sorry, sweet cheeks.
God. More on why shortly, but we'll be following up on the subject of addiction by looking at... So I'm going to list these things. Hopefully we'll get time to cover them. If we don't, we can put them in the other 75 episodes. The link between addiction and connection.
Mm-hmm.
Personal recollections and how emotional mind trumps logic.
Yep.
Yeah, you wrote these.
Yeah.
Because you're looking ever so surprised.
I'm thinking these are good.
These are really good. I just wish I had something to say on them.
You've been doing your research.
The legacy of always being in recovery.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by that one. And new addictions all the time, and the threat of AI as the ultimate addiction.
Yeah.
Really good one, that.
That only came to me. Firstly, thank you as well for your response when you said, like, you'd like to know a little bit what's going on in my head for tonight.
Yeah.
And I sent those through.
Yeah.
We were all, that's good, isn't it? That's how things happen. You make a request.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
And then you put mega thanks. And I was so chuffed.
Oh, yeah, because I put make a good word in it.
Yeah.
You're welcome. It was mega, just the fact you responded in a timely fashion.
In this year.
Yeah, there's not much left of it, so it was close. So how are you, Mark? All right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have a birthday haircut? Well,
birthday haircut. Yeah, I did.
You moved that along pretty quick, didn't you? Let's talk about my hair quick. Anything but how I am.
I set myself some targets for my birthday.
Yeah.
Shower.
Getting to it.
Shower.
Yeah, showers could start.
Nails.
We've talked about that before.
Nails, all.
What, your fingernails and toenails?
And toenails, the whole lot.
What, off? Just pulled them out? What?
Painted them.
Oh, okay.
No.
They look lovely.
Just dealt with them.
I didn't think it was your colour, that, but black.
What else did I do?
So you got
shaved.
Right.
I'm more shaven than last time. That sounds wrong. Why does that sound wrong?
Because it's fucking wrong. That's why.
No, but if I just go, I've
20
shaved.
shades are wrong.
Everyone knows if I go, I'm more shaven. How does that?
You're not making it any easier.
No.
Did you shave all your bits and pieces? Is that what we're saying? Did you give yourself a good
chest.
tidy
I
up?
didn't do that.
That's the only bit you're getting out on Instagram, isn't it? So just shave those bits.
What else did I do? I went to Vince's and had a haircut And I had
Vincenzo. Ciao.
and I had
How is he, all right?
I didn't.
Did you have the 3-word man?
Yeah. So I'm there. 3-word man and Vincenzo were both.
Does he have a name? I've asked you this before. I don't think you know his name.
Nephew.
Oh, it's only one word.
I'm trying to think when I went first.
It's not Antonio the nephew.
I think, just doing a quick bit of calculation in my head, I've been going there 35 years. So no, I don't know his name.
Right. Yeah. Okay. It's not important, but I was just trying to
early days.
Yeah.
God, 35 years. But about, I think I've said this before, about 12, 13 years ago, I went in and he went, the usual mate, obviously the 3 words.
Yeah.
And I went, And he just basically got out a number 0 and took all my hair off. Mm-hmm. And you know when you're sitting there going, this doesn't feel like the usual haircut that might have scissors.
Does he do this every 12, 13 years then? Because that's pretty sharp what you've got.
Is this short,
it's pretty short, yeah. I don't think I've seen it that short.
I told him to
I had to kind of squint. Is there any there at all?
I had to tell him to leave it longer. This is him. This is his
leave
hippie.
It a bit long on top.
Yeah, seriously. And no, seriously, this was...
good.
We had some great 3 words. But there was no one else in the... shop except for the guy that Vince was doing. The reason Vince got delayed, and I would have had Vince otherwise, because as I said, when I went in, they both as a customer. Vince's customer had his phone on, and probably every about 27 seconds had to take a call.
Right, so you had to stop.
Yeah, and get his hand under the cape.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Flick all the hair away.
What?
Vince stood back. I'm in the fucking barbers. Sorry, Vince. Sorry. And then it was like, what? No, I can't, no, I can't, I'm with Vin, I'm in the, oh, bloody women. And it's like, don't answer your phone.
Mate, yeah.
Think he was addicted. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Or a dick.
He's called Ted.
Is he? Good. Huh?
A dick Ted.
Oh, right.
If I have to explain.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. So I didn't realise my hair was that.
I've got to get up to speed.
Yeah, I didn't realise my hair was that short. But yeah, this is long on top.
Everything else right? What's happened in the last 35 days? I have seen you, obviously, but we've been training again. Did you miss me when I had the Rona? I had the Rona.
Yeah, it probably needs to be said.
Yeah, it does. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm good. What?
No.
Good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get a badge.
No.
But they did ring me about 4 times.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a cold, right?
Yeah.
They called me four times, and some of the calls were, I just wonder how you're doing. I'm like, all right. So I, as you know, and I think we talked about in the pod, in 2015, I had quite some savage surgery.
Yeah.
Guess how many times? Right. I'll give you a little bit of time to think about this. Okay. Guess how many times the NHS or any of the medical operatives that were involved in that said procedure or the follow-up care, guess how many times?
I think it's a loaded question.
No, is it?
Where'd
you get that impression? Have a wild stab in the dark.
I'm going to have a stab in the dark, which is literally what they did on your stomach. It was the same number of phone calls I had after my hernia operation.
Yeah.
So before I answer that,
oh yes,
just a little bit of supplementary. Our cat had his balls cut off. We had 3 follow-up calls. 24 hours after.
Right, yeah.
Left a message on an answer phone.
How is he? Is he all right?
I said a cat. It's not a fucking cat, it's a dog.
But you have a cat as well?
With balls. No, I'll cancel all that. You're going to have to do some editing.
I'm not editing. Okay, we can just pretend it was the dog had his balls removed.
So we had a call 24 hours later.
How's the dog? There's nothing wrong with the dog. It's the cat that's had his nuts off. What? Have I got the wrong number? Oh, the confusion that ensued after that.
Yeah.
Is he all right, though?
I'm going to go 0 then for calls.
Let's absolutely
bring
right.
It back.
It's mental, isn't it? No one gave 2 shits when I had most of my guts removed.
No.
Yeah, I had a I've lost my taste, and they're ringing out, how are you? How are you doing? Like, what? Crazy. crazy. And my taste is just back coming back after about 4.5 weeks. And I
good
thought,
it is coming back because it.
well, I thought smell and taste was kind of linked. I thought if smell comes back, taste comes back, but it doesn't. Seemingly, they seem to be independent of each other, which I didn't realise in my case. And I started training, but it's been a bit tough, hasn't it? I've been not.
We've just
I've
been
not
gentle.
been. I've not been very. Yeah,
you're
I've
not
been
being
gentle with
yourself.
me, haven't you? You've been very nice, easing me in gently.
The sense of smell is linked with the amygdala, which we talked about before.
Right.
And I've gone back to writing my novel, and I wrote about working in Marks and Spencer's, and when I walked in, it smells of Marks and Spencer's.
Right.
So here's a question. I would say that if I was in any Tesco's, any Sainsbury's,
Yeah.
I would know the difference
Just by the smell.
just by the smell.
Really?
Mm.
Do you rank smells?
No, not mad.
Do you go in? Oh, this is 3. This is a 3. Oh.
So I looked into
Co-op.
this. And back in the day, there was it was a bit the equivalent of subliminal advertising, wasn't it? That they used to do bread smells.
Yeah.
And so
It's
there's
called a bakery. It's at the back. It's not fucking rocky.
it's not actually a bakery, is it? Because it's all brought in from bloody Romania in a
All
lorry.
right. No need for that kind of
It's a
xenophobia. Yeah. Thank you.
So the point I'm making is that I still think you don't seem convinced. I reckon all
Convinced by
Sainsbury's
what?
taste the
That
same.
bread's baked at
No, but-
Sainsbury's.
All Sainsbury's smell the same to me. General feeling. You don't seem
No, I can't. I'm normally quite good with my nose, but that's not something
okay.
I've really thought about. But now I think well, and all our listeners will be going in through their masks. If you,
Oh, nothing.
or
will,
just pull the mask down and have a little.
no,
then put it-
nothing will get through those bad
Oh,
boys.
that's good. Yeah, that's what I mean. You've got to put it down.
You need chainmail or chicken wire, something more solid than those.
Yeah.
Go into a mask with chicken wire. There are some.
Well, they
masks.
said it has to be a comfortable face covering and it needs to be secure.
Yeah.
It didn't specify how far apart
Yeah.
the materials need
Well, we
to be.
mentioned chainmail, haven't we?
Yeah.
Or have it like maybe curtains in the theatre, little velvet drapes with
Oh, and you pull. So
you pull if
Yeah,
you want to speak to
that's
somebody.
lovely because in Costa, I will pull my mask down. I mean, she's behind bulletproof glass
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
right? So I'm not worried about that. So I put it because it's rude, isn't it? She's going, and they were like, "What?" And you're like, "What?" And she hasn't got a mask on, so it's just seems common decency to pull it down and
Spit on her.
Americano, please. What did you say? Spit on her?
It's a new rule. It's a new law in Australia, isn't it?
What? To spit on
If
people?
you're unvaccinated and you deliberately, and the how they define deliberate, I don't know, but if you deliberately cough,
It's attempted
sneeze,
murder.
or spit over another person,
Mhm.
the fine is now $13,000.
Ooh, that's a lot, isn't it?
And one of them is sneeze.
What if you accidentally do it and they go, "Oh, they did it on purpose"?
And if you go, no, I've got hay fever.
Yeah, I'm allergic to them. Yeah,
Mm,
I'm allergic to their. Yeah.
them.
End of.
So anyway, going back to the smells, in my
Mm.
novel I wrote that I felt whenever I worked in Marks and Spencer's it had a distinctive smell. So I did a little bit of work, looked about the links of memory
Yeah.
and the amygdala,
All right.
that smell is the most notable of the senses for memories. It can
Yeah.
evoke memories.
Mhm.
And
That makes sense.
yeah, and one of the things I looked into was how many companies use smells
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the moment. This is a
yeah.
current thing. And
We've talked about cars on here, haven't we? The car smell,
yeah,
and then it
Yeah.
went away, and people went, "I want it to smell like a new car."
Yeah.
So they put it in
yeah.
because we went way past CFCs years ago. We're actually making plastic that didn't, degrade before
Yeah.
your very eyes. So yeah, they put that in. I think they still do. They still put
Okay.
that smell in.
Yeah. Well, here's another one then. I think all Starbucks smell the same.
Yeah.
Starbucks has a distinctive feel. You
Yeah,
walk
it's
into
that-
Starbucks,
it's
you know
that rank
Starbucks.
coffee that they
It
sell.
is the rank coffee, yeah.
Yeah, they're a
and
sponsor I really don't want.
So Starbucks, it is amazing. It's a bit like Costa. To be the best, or not to be the best, to be the most popular and to be the shittest. It's like, it's unbelievable,
It's
isn't it?
impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is
Costa's run
impressive.
by Whitbread,
Yeah.
and it's just wrong as a coffee
Mm.
shop, but it is the most popular. Anyways, as I was saying. So one of the
What were
things
you
I
saying?
read...
I've no
One of the
idea
things
what
I
you
read
meant.
about Starbucks was obviously that they do use coffee smells to which is obvious, but they do pump it round. It isn't just people making
Don't line
coffee.
them up that easy for me, all right?
Yeah.
They have coffee in there,
Yeah.
right?
But
You know what I mean?
they also used to have egg and cheese at certain times of the day, and they've stopped selling those because they overpowered the smell of the coffee. And it had...
What, they pumped egg and cheese smells in, did they?
I guess they had like...
Or
I
they
don't
just
know.
used, someone used to get like the work experience kid just kind of wave his hand over the cheese and egg sandwiches.
No.
No?
No.
Or open it. Oh, you could, in the days before pandemic, they just would open the packet and blew across the top of it. Right? Just
No, they've stopped cooking it. That's the thing.
Right.
Stopped cooking
Okay. Oh, that's boring.
Mm.
Anything? Oh, the other thing I did do, which I didn't mention.
But you're better now, so sorry, I'm going to show a little bit of concern for your health.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm a bit-
you're right.
I'm feeling unwell all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, for all because our listeners, I think, listen, don't they? I mean, there's a clue in their name. And I think some of them remember stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'm sure, not that we know, but I'm sure everyone was really fascinated to know how my bike test went.
Yes.
Because that was ages ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I passed. So I'm now a biker.
Mm.
And now I turn up on a really loud bike in the morning at your house tonight.
Yeah. And just for a bit,
It's
just
so
that little
loud,
bit.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That just makes me, every time I drive up kind of your road, I just kind of have a little smile to myself thinking that
The only
you're probably
advantage
going,
of it is
God.
that I can get the coffee on.
Can you hear me coming up the road?
Yes.
Oh, mint.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Only probably about 10 seconds away, but there's that little rumble.
Ace. Oh, cool. I'm still going to get you on a bike. It's my 2022 resolution.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think every time I turn up on it, you just stand there and with your coffee, you just stand there and you just give it a little bit of a once over, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't know what you're looking at.
I
you're not looking at me.
I'm like talking to the bike and go, I could ride.
Because I look like a bin. Because I look like a bin man, so you can't be looking at me. I can ride you up and down the road. I'd show you.
Show you a good time.
Anything else going on, Mark?
No, I think we'll come to stuff. We're not going to go straight into addictions, are we?
Well, you got anything else? We're halfway through.
Are we? God, nothing's changed.
I'm not
has it?
editing, remember?
You were
Days
just,
of editing, they've gone.
Yeah, you were just saying about the 35-day break. You're going to just comment on that a bit.
I did. I was poorly, and we didn't. Well, I kind of.
And
I
then
guess
another week we couldn't, and then
Yeah, well, I was just one of those overwhelming weeks at work.
yeah, I had to work past 5.
Yeah, you can shut it.
Ran out
Don't
of
talk to me about a
croissants.
full day's work, Mark. You can pot kettle black.
Your slide in your Google Office got stuck and it needed polishing.
Yeah.
Pool table's been recovered.
Yeah, you got it. No, that's been a while. I didn't realise it was that long. I didn't realise it felt it's like 3 weeks, but obviously it's been a bit longer. But
I am going to have to make one very quick reference because
Yeah.
obviously Sam Harris is out of my affections.
Oh yeah, you found a new beau, haven't you?
Yeah. And Sam Harris, and I've bloody paid for him as well.
Yeah, I have as well. Not listened to him for most of the
'cause
year.
he's full of shit. Well, I don't know. There's two sides to every
What
story.
happened? Did you have a little fallout?
He disagreed with me. Well,
Oh,
I
right.
disagreed with him.
Right. The confirmation bias wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
You're like,
He didn't
How
say
dare-
what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
I don't pay someone to give me counter views.
Has he had his vaccines, has he?
Oh, Joe Rogan. Like,
What?
seriously. So I'm just going to say, you saw my Insta story the other day about his current, I'm just going to find it
The
now.
other
'cause I was
day,
listening to it
you've
in the
had
car.
40 in the last week, Mark. How
Jo-
you have to be more specific?
Joe Rogan and Dr. Peter McCullough.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I haven't seen that.
I'm going to demand
What?
that everybody listens to it, and I want everyone to write in when they have, or else there's going to be trouble.
What are you going to
It's-
do? Are you threatening our listeners?
Yeah, it's about time we got.
What got a bit?
Yeah,
What got a bit Larry?
they're getting a bit complacent. Even though Tunisia had a little jump, did you see that on the charts about a week ago? It suddenly started going up again. I thought we haven't put anything out. They must just be
Yeah, we've
re-listening
had a
and
bit of a
re-listening.
burst, haven't we? The last one. The longer we leave between pods, the more listens we get. I'm trying to.
Treat them mean, isn't it? No, this podcast, the latest one on Spotify, I think there's even talk that he's going to be in danger of it being taken down.
What?
It's-
Spotify are actually going to censor their biggest
Well,
star.
no, just that it's like he's already losing thousands on Twitter. YouTube is starting to block stuff for this doctor.
Yeah, they're all kind of.
And
Well, as
I
long as he's
know-
got Spotify, he'll be fine, won't he?
yeah, and I know there's confirmation bias, and I know I just wanted someone to say something, and there are a couple of things that he said, and I go, I don't quite get that. But some of the stuff he's coming out with is totally mind-blowing. And if there was one thing I would ask everyone to listen to, it would be this one podcast on Spotify. I'll tell you what number it is.
Okay.
Whereas Dr. Peter McCullough, he's a cardiologist. I think he's got more research papers printed than anybody else in the world. It's number 1747 on Spotify.
1747.
And I do accept...
I'll put a link up in the notes.
Yeah, I do accept the confirmation bias that I've got my ideas. But something came into my mind when I was listening to him, and some of it was really, really interesting for me personally. And this is the one sort of serious bit I want to say. He was talking about, it came up about soccer players, as they called it. And Joe Rogan went, where are we with this thing? And you know that's something I've been going on about.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of videos today, actually, of 2 football players going down, and it's like they've been shot.
Yeah,
it's
so
a film I
just
haven't seen before.
Do you want to explain? Because not everyone is, because it's not anything that's necessarily been widely publicised.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it probably... I'm not saying started because we don't really know the cause of it, but Christian Eriksen in the Euros collapsed on the pitch.
So
and nothing really, you know, the ones I remember is Fabrice Mwamba and I can't remember, there's another one, wasn't there?
Yeah,
quite a big profile.
Yeah.
But they happen very few and far between, those things.
Maybe once every 5 years you get
certainly
a
in
high
top
profile.
flight anyway.
Yeah. And so Christian Eriksen went down, had, I think, what was described as a heart attack. In the Euros, so of course, massive profile, massive number of television watchers. Interesting, actually, the BBC got a lot of complaints for not coming away from the scene. It'd been interesting if he had died, whether that would have really come back to bite them, because it was quite harrowing to show. And I don't think it really respected his privacy.
Yeah, right.
The Euros were in the summer, and then this season has started, and I would say every week, in Europe, a high profile, so, you know, top league player has collapsed with chest pains. There's a guy called Fleck for Sheffield United. Lindelof did it.
Yeah. Well, Aguero's the big one, because
Aguero's the big one.
Subsequently had to retire,
He had fibrillation and arrhythmia and 2 heart conditions that I have. And
in 1 week, there was that Sheffield United player and a almost in a can't remember, it wasn't Leeds, it was 2.
No, there was another one.
Again, FA, it was almost in the same week.
But it's also the things, for example, I was listening to local radio, listening to my team, and I'd come in and out of the room, and they went, there'll be 13 minutes of injury time. And I thought, God, what's happened? There was a collapse in the crowd, a heart attack in the crowd. The week before, the rival team in Bristol, 3 people had collapsed with heart conditions and breathing conditions at one match. Spectators, yeah. Now, this isn't about me coming to I don't know what happened to those people. What I'm saying is, it's very interesting when they talked about Aguero today. When they talked about Lindelof from Man United, the manager basically said he had a bit of a collision. He can't remember what happened. He was unable to breathe, and his heart rate was off the scale. But he's fine now. And he'll be back soon. When Aguero retired, he didn't say, other than for health issues, he didn't say, when I walked off the pitch 2 months ago and couldn't breathe and went to hospital and had massive heart palpitations, it was just left as very vague.
Yeah. They all have been, and nothing of them since. But
And so what happens is, it's like, had trouble breathing, had problems with heart, and this is every single week now. And a lot of that is relevant, and this actually came up on a pod ages and ages ago when I talked about one of my first heart surgery, and I was in pre-surgery, and there was 4 of us there, or 5 of us there, waiting for the surgery. 3 were very, very obese people, and myself and another personal trainer. And when I spoke to my cardiologist, he said, your heart as a muscle is massive, it's enlarged, and that's causing the problems with atrial fibrillation because of the size of your heart. And he said, those 3 guys over there are 26, 30 stone, so their heart's having to work as hard as yours is from your exercise.
For different reasons.
And I still have fibrillation, but the interesting thing, I was watching Good Morning Britain the other day, and this advert comes on for Cardia. I think I mentioned this to you at training.
The app, the phone app.
It cost me about £100. It's more than an app, because it is actually a measurement.
You had it ages ago.
Is
that the same
5 years ago?
For your stuff? That's right, because I've seen, because maybe you took it on tour, didn't you? I'm sure you had it.
Yes, I had those 2 little silver buttons. So if I go into fibrillation and it's bad and it lasts several hours.
Yeah, because you've been sending me all these players collapse from all over the world.
Yes.
This isn't just the UK, this is everywhere. And then I was watching the TV the other night, that came on, I was like, oh, if Mark sees this, it's going to be like... Because you never see an ad for that.
Yeah, and it's such
Why
a
would you want to check
thing.
if you've got atrial fibrillation,
Yeah.
of all things? You know what I mean?
But yeah, and this is in Good
No,
Morning
I'm just-
Britain. This is prime time telly.
I've seen it in the
like we said,
yeah,
it's
in the
normally
evening, so-
stair lifts, isn't
Yeah.
it? But
So back to Rogan, because that's where you were going.
so the thing with Rogan is, yes, 100% hands up, he meets a lot of my confirmation bias. The number of things that he talks about that you and I talk about is in perfect parallel. We must mix in the same sort of Twitter circles. But the guy, he is just so human, and sometimes he'll make a mistake. But this particular interview with this guy, Dr. Peter McCullough, is earth-shattering. And there's the one thing I was going to say, and we're not going to go on and on about COVID. This is something that came into my mind today, having listened to that. And it wasn't something that was said. Dr. McCullough said, almost without exception, you cannot get COVID twice. That's what he said. Joe Rogan goes, some of my mates have. And the other guy goes, some of your mates have come up with 2 positive readings.
Right.
I do not think they have had COVID twice.
Right.
Did a massive scientific explanation about it.
This is on this episode that
This
you've
is on
talked
this
about. Okay,
episode,
yeah.
so you can listen to it for
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
And Joe Rogan's going, basically, I don't believe you. You can get it twice. I saw my mate, and
Yeah.
he wasn't so bad the second time, but he'd had it twice. And I think you mentioned you knew someone had, or a family member or something.
Actually, don't. Not officially.
Okay.
They thought they might have, but nothing ever came of it.
So I'm there going, actually, I don't agree with the doctor either. You know, that's a very bold claim. He said, you will not get it twice.
Yeah.
So Joe Rogan argued the point. Then we talked a little bit more. And so I thought, I'm going to find out, because actually the BBC were talking about it today on the radio, just by coincidence. And the guy on the radio went, we reckon at the most 1% of people can get it twice.
Blimey.
So the BBC, who are obviously very pro everything about the vaccines, even they're admitting it's 1%. So I thought, well, maybe we're somewhere between 0 and 1% all of a sudden, but 1% is still a big number.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, I thought it was a lot smaller than what. I thought it's quite small, but I guess it is big when you
it
think
is
about how many
big
people are around. Yeah.
But I was surprised. I thought the BBC were going, up to 20% of people might, have had it
Yes, I
twice.
see what you mean. Yeah.
So, say it's between 0 and 1%. If the BBC is a lot more one way and this doctor's a lot more the other. So I then thought there must have been some studies to see. And the biggest study is in Qatar. 323,000 people.
That's big.
Big study.
Yeah.
And they were tracked and traced and tested to find out, did they have COVID twice? That was the test.
Okay, cool.
And I haven't got the exact figures here, but it was roughly about 1,600 were recorded as having it twice.
Right.
Of those 323,000, 4 were hospitalised. So the findings of the study were a small percentage, less than 1%, quite a lot less than 1%, were recording as having it twice.
Yeah.
And what the doctor was saying is some of the tests that are done aren't subtle enough to know the difference between different.
Right.
Because I saw someone
With
go
different
today.
viruses, I guess, or
Someone said the variant. Someone said today,
right.
if there's this new variant that no one knows anything about, how does the test pick it up? And I guess there's enough other things there.
Yeah, I guess.
But it makes you think.
Well, they just look down the telescope and there's just all these, all these mutants, right? Because that's what they say. There's loads of mutants in this one. So there's all these little, and there's just loads of them. Omicron.
Okay. I suppose they look different to the other mutants. So anyway,
there's just more of them, more mutants.
Taking away all my confirmation bias, so we've got a doctor going, "There's none." The BBC saying 1%, and the biggest study in the world going 1,000 out of 320,000. So what's that? 0.3%, something like that. So we're in points of a percent.
Yes.
And I think everybody agree, it's around that. This went through my head. If you have had COVID...
I have.
Yeah.
Hands up.
Okay, let's use you as an example.
No, I'm here. I'm a survivor. I mean, you should be grateful you could use me as an example at all.
Is there anyone in the audience who's had corona? You've got to put your hand up.
Oh, yeah, me.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to use you as an example.
You don't
so-
sound well either, Mark. You can.
No, I think I've got...
I'm not
Sorry.
editing, remember? So you're spitting all over the place.
Good job, I've got 4 masks on.
Yeah.
So, you've had COVID.
Yes.
If we accept that the chance of getting COVID again is 0.1%, we can agree
Yeah.
it's almost next to nothing.
Yep.
And if the hospitalisations were 4 out of 1/3 of a million, if you do get it again, it ain't going to hurt you.
Yeah.
We can take that as read, no matter where your confirmation bias is.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my question. If you have had COVID, what are you being vaccinated against?
God, I need a sound effect in there, don't I?
Do you get me? No one has asked this question. You're being vaccinated against a disease that you cannot get
Yeah.
because you've had it.
Yeah.
So the vaccine...
If anyone can see your face now,
But
it's
this has just
contorted.
come
It's
to me.
like
But it's the vaccine should only be given to people, and I'm not even on about natural immunity.
Yeah.
If the vaccine
Yes.
is to stop you getting COVID, and you're not going to get COVID, except in 0.3 of a chance of a percent,
Even less chance of getting it the first time round, and that's slim.
yeah, and
Okay,
even
though,
if you
isn't it?
do get
Well,
it the
it's not
second
getting
time,
it, but in terms of getting
nothing's going to
hospitalised.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put that against the risk of the vaccine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that, if we're going on about addiction and my gambling problem, that's a reason for me to suggest the odds of harm are greater. Now, I'm not anti-vax.
No, no.
I'm just going on figures. If you have had something that you're almost
And
definitely
you're not even
going to
talking
get
about
again,
some of yourself with a heart condition. You're not.
No.
You're just talking. Say you didn't have any underlying health. The odds are, do you know what I mean?
yeah. And we go back.
Slim,
back,
properly
yeah,
slim.
We go back to our Martian.
Oh, I like it.
We've done this. So the Martian comes down
Yeah.
and he said he's at the
My favourite
vaccination
thing you
centre,
do, you know.
and he went, "Can you explain to me?"
Did he book an appointment, or is he just kind of hanging out outside? Just because I'm a very visual person, right? So he's knocking around outside Bradley Stoke surgery.
Yeah.
Right? Is he queuing up for a
Joe
vaccine?
Rogan,
Because he couldn't get on the web. Nobody could get on the website to get the boosters booked. So how did he get?
Well, if
was he in
that
the
could,
queue?
well, no, he could, because that guy who had 9 the other day. Did you hear about that?
What, did he start selling them or something?
No, he had 9 himself. He had 9 boosters.
What?
He just kept going round. He had 9 boosters.
Get going round.
Yeah, he did. Just a different sentence.
a roller
It was in the
coaster.
paper. Roller coaster. So, going back to it, the Martian would go, "Okay, can you explain this? Yeah, this is a vaccination centre. Oh, what happens? We put something in your arm,
Mm.
and what does that stop? It stops me getting COVID. Oh, have you ever had COVID? Yes. So why are you having the vaccine? So I don't get it again. Oh, is that likely that it happens again? No, hardly ever. So you're having a vaccine to stop you having something that you've had, survived, and won't get again. That's why it's ridiculous, and it's taken me all this fucking time to get to that conclusion.
What you've never followed up on is how the Martian responds to all these ridiculous things, right? Does he just kind of like shake his head? Or does he look like you with a contorted face and just walk off because he can't work it
He's
out?
mystified. Joe Rogan reckons the way
Does he just
Martians
walk up?
look
Yeah.
is basically where humanity's going. No genitals, massive head, and a pathetic body. Your body only...
Sounds like me, right?
Yeah,
I'm halfway there.
I've been missing some training. Or you're just on about the genitals. But he goes, yeah, the body's only strong enough to move the neck. That's all we're needed for. And he's got a point.
Yeah, he has.
I've been in the gym. I've been
in.
in the gym every day this week. It's empty. There's nobody in the gym.
Yeah.
There aren't people getting strong anymore or getting...
I know. Sad, isn't it?
It's the exception. You look around. Nobody is... Oh...
Oh, anyway, does the Martian just walk off in a huff, or does he do? Does he kind of?
He just goes.
Does he get back in his spaceship, or does he just go to the next?
No, he went. Last
goes to the
time I
next person."
came, I was mystified by you as a race.
I keep coming back. I can't help myself. I'm
I'm
twisted.
addicted.
So
He's something from the
That's a
metaverse, isn't it? It's Mark Zuckerberg. He looks like a bloody Martian, doesn't he? And Bill Gates.
he's got like a big neck and a big head, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bill Gates looks like a waterbed, doesn't he? His body does look, doesn't it? Like you could shake it, like when you fill a balloon full of water.
That's probably gonna be the worst insult, isn't it, for anyone? He looks like a waterbed. I don't even know what that means, but I'd
But it's
I'd
right.
be more. Yeah, think I know what you mean.
Well, I'm sorry if I'm upsetting because we should all be kind.
Well, it's one less listener, isn't it?
Yeah,
we've got plenty of them.
Yeah, but he's got influence.
Yeah. So I mean, beautifully segued, Mark.
Yes.
Into addiction. Yeah, with our Martian is addicted to our nonsensical ways. Brilliant question. And I'm not going to put a sound effect in because I think the silence said it all, didn't it?
Yeah.
What?
No, I thought you were going to read out the brilliant question. I hadn't realised it was the thing I just said.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think you flabbergasted yourself.
I have.
No, it is. That's a really good point. And I'm sure we'll talk about boosters again, won't we? So, addiction we need to get on, Mark. You know what we're like, or gas bags. So, in the last episode, again, 35 days ago, you began to talk about your gambling addiction, which you obviously you've kind of circled around quite a lot of the pot, for the people who've listened to, others. Yeah. They might have got I don't know, people try and put things together, don't they? But I think you've kind of hinted at, you've certainly talked about similar things. You've talked about certain events that, but you've kind of talked very clearly and openly about, you kind of started at the beginning really, didn't you? Which is kind of really interesting to me because you'd not really talked to me about that before. I don't think probably more than a handful of people know about it. Yeah, but because we kind of touched on the, I guess, what could be seen as the innocence of childhood behaviour and how child-parent dynamics actually normalised the addictive tendencies of gambling. Which kind of really hit home when you said that the games that you used to play with your parents and for money, and it was kind of encouraged, and that competitiveness was encouraged, and there was reward, and there's dopamine hits, all that kind of thing. Yeah. You'd just look into any household doing those things, and you go, "Oh, isn't that lovely?" It's like the adverts at the moment with everyone. The Christmas adverts, the big pile of food, and everyone's playing games, and if you just kind of zoomed into a house of, back in the 70s. 70s.
Yeah, 70s. But also just...
Do you know what I mean? You go, oh, isn't that lovely? Their family playing together and... look,
but you're right about the adverts, but the other underlying thing is if you did a screenshot of those adverts, they are jam-packed with alcohol. Yeah. You see the crackers and the Christmas pudding, but it's like... True. Just look at it, and there's bottles everywhere, and it's almost like a sort of unwritten thing that... Yeah, I mean, if there's any normalisation going on, that's it in, right before your very eyes, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, we kind of forget that. Well, it's like daytime TV now. What is it? This morning with Polly and Phil. I mean, they're generally drinking gin at 10:30 in the morning. Yeah. And it's like, just having a little tip. But you don't actually have to drink gin for us to know what it's like to watch someone drink gin. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like you could allude to it. That's right. It's like you don't start jacking up if you're talking about drug problems. Yeah. But gin is fine, or, wine tasting on the Saturday kitchen at 9:30. I was looking for my my little bit of wood over there, which
said
it
about drinking the prosecco when it's gone now. I think it's been removed from the house after your comments. It was a real kind of and it kind of came up at work today. Actually, someone talking about kind of the talking about the kind of food and their children and the associations you could easily give by in a way innocently telling them. Or encouraging them not to eat something or to eat something, or rewarding them with food, and how that can, it seemed very innocent and very futile at the time, but very quickly become a habit, become a,
especially if you've got a propensity, because we've mentioned my propensity for figures and for maths.
That's another layer, isn't it? It could be okay or not without an underlying. Yes. Yeah. If you're just built to like that thing a little bit too much, it's even more dangerous.
I have a little bit of content that I haven't actually shared with you, which is so relevant. So when finished tidying up everything from my dad's house, I put a lot of things in a box and said to my sister, we need to sit down and decide, the one-touch rule that we used to talk about 80 pods ago. And I said, and I explained it to her, and I said, the thing is that all of this has relevance because it's relevant to my mum and to my dad and to us. But I said, we've got to do the one touch. It's no good keeping all these boxes just because they belonged to somebody, Right. Yeah. And we went through various things. And I think I mentioned to you, which I don't know if I've mentioned on the pod, this sort of secret thing, that secret box that my mum had hidden in the base of her.
You did mention it to me.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that now because that was too personal. But my sister and I were going through this, and she found just a little exercise book, and she just flicked through it. And at the front it said something like special dates or something like that. And she said, oh, this has got like when one of her sisters died or someone's golden anniversary and something like that. And I said, oh, that's quite interesting because it had like family members in. And I flicked through it, and at the back, which is interesting, I always used to write from the back of books forward, and I think my mum does as well. Right. So the book starts at the end and you read it backwards. And it had at the top 1973. And some of the things listed there, which I won't go into all of, we might on another thing because it's quite interesting, were the presents that she had bought my sister and I in 1973. So this would be for my 13th birthday.
Right. These aren't as heartbreaking as your Christmas presents, are they? Because I'm not sure I could take it.
Well, no.
The used diary was one of them.
Yeah. No, things went downhill. 13, she still loved me at 13.
Okay.
That was when I was 17, she hated me.
Okay.
It does go downhill a little bit because next to the list of my party, who came to my party and what sandwiches we had...
That's really sweet.
It was. And it's like, I only could remember one person, but so nice to have that.
And it was two.
The four people that came to my birthday party.
That was too close to the bone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I feel bad now.
Two of them couldn't come, so you were right. And
didn't say, no show in brackets.
Yeah, again. Yeah, need to give address next time. And then next to this list, and this is where it does get a bit dark because it's my mum, was her will. So she'd written the will, obviously in 1973. So my mum was 40 in 1973, and she'd written her will. Yeah. And the fact we know it was written then was that she left some money to her own mother.
Right.
And then there was a little poem about, I wish life would take me away from all this.
Oh,
so it wasn't, it's like birthday party, egg sandwiches and ring of roses. Yeah. Not really very happy with life. And on her will... It was really funny because she left £5 to her sisters. And I thought, have a good time.
It was, I was going to say 1973.
That could have bought two houses. But she left 25 quid to her mum, and in brackets it said for her to go to the races. And my gran was the person that used to take me in betting shops when I was 11 and 12. And yet again, the normalisation has happened that she even thought it appropriate that if she was going to do something, because she was 40 and she wasn't ill.
Yeah.
We found 5 wills so far, so she was well prepared.
Yeah.
She was leaving money for her mother to go gambling. And then we looked on the birthday party, who had come, the egg sandwiches, party rings, and then the gifts. And my sister's was something like a vase, plant pot cover, box of tissues, hamster. And mine was something like small toy, stick.
Lucky boy.
I was going to say a bag of grass. That sounds wrong. But just And then fruit machine.
Oh, wow.
So in the same thing, when we're talking about normalisation, she bought me a fruit machine for my birthday.
Yeah.
And was leaving money in the will to my for her mother to go racing. And I think that's exactly the point that you were saying. I hadn't realised that even when she's writing stuff down, it's gambling is so, so ingrained. I almost stood no chance.
So, link between addiction and lack of connection, or to quality interaction, I think is the point here. We kind of touched on at the end of training yesterday, didn't we? Do you want to expand on that? Is there any kind of link to kind of what we've just been talking about and that, or is this kind of a newer realization? Well, I guess a lot of realizations are more new. I was talking about this the other day, kind of timelines, and you live your life, and then we kind of touched on the last pod, but it was so bloody long ago. And the idea that as you kind of develop and grow and then learn about stuff, it then gives such a massive kind of retrospective new context to everything you ever did. Do you know what I mean? So all these words like normalisation, it was just, it was normal, but normalisation takes on a more powerful kind of... So I guess this lack of connection, is that something you know about now and then have gone, oh fuck, if I laid that back over my life, that's everywhere.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it kind of sends a bit of a chill down my It's fine thinking of it, but it's those kind of really you think, oh my God, there wasn't any of that, or there was too much of that, or...
I think we know so much more now than we did then, especially around mental health. And so some of the words that we would use now almost hadn't been invented. I think why I said that is that literally the day after... so I've got a new therapist, and she actually keeps focusing on my addiction, which I find really strange. We've had a couple of weeks where she's been going, and she's played me a video of someone who ironically was talking about addiction and connection. And that was the day that I had also seen a quote that said the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety. So using that as in terms of maybe alcohol or drugs.
Yeah.
But connection. And it's made me think and think and think. And I think what I've come to the conclusion is that it's a bit like the difference. I always say, and quote this a lot, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And I think this is on the same track. We've talked about addiction having dire consequences, and it isn't, to me, you're either addicted and you keep doing that thing, or you get clean and you don't do that thing. If it was as simple as that, it's like the government back in the 80s, just say no to drugs. It's like, or turn that frown upside down. All the stuff that keeps going on Instagram going,
Yeah.
If you didn't think about sad things, you'd be happy, or,
Yeah. That's a good one. I'm right.
And it isn't, you can use that.
Put it on some wood.
That'll have us going up in the charts in tunes, is it? So the point I'm making is this. It isn't necessarily connection with a person or a thing, but it's a connection maybe around a reality, or a connection with your emotions, or a connection with something that is more positive. So my connection, when I was gambling, I held down jobs. I got promotion while I was spending 7 hours a day in a betting shop. So my connection with my workplace was just total lies about me going to meetings that weren't there. My connection with my home life was total lies, because I didn't sort of mention I was in the betting shop for 7 hours. My connection with my friends was non-existent, because if I was invited out and I'd gambled every penny, I couldn't go out. I had no money. And my connection with myself was broken, because those 7 hours were layered. So it isn't the matter of gambling and losing money. For those 7 hours, I wouldn't eat or drink. In those days, you couldn't eat or drink in a betting shop.
Right.
So I would not leave the betting shop. So I would get there, I don't know, whatever, 11 o'clock in the morning, and leave at 6 at night. For that 7 hours, they didn't even have toilets in those days. So like literally your connection with any sense of self-preservation. And I imagine it's very similar to people, with alcohol or with drugs, that the setting for that, if your addiction is taking over the major part of your life, it's almost like the sort of Maslow hierarchy of needs goes out the window. As long as I had the betting shop, I didn't need food, I didn't need drink, I didn't need association. And also, I think the majority of addiction must be, from my own circumstances and from other people I've worked with, dozens and dozens of people with addictions in prison, it is a solitary thing. You can be surrounded by people, but it's your fight, it's your struggle.
So I guess the lonely nature of that isn't a search or a quest for connection. There isn't, just because there's clearly a lack of connection to lots of things. You've just listed them. But is there a within that activity that is making you become disconnected? Is there a longing for a different connection? As in, if we say you then won, or you had a successful bet, is that kind of feeling of euphoria, or because I'm thinking kind of drugs as well in terms of it, and I'm out of my depth clearly on this subject, but is that the thing that becomes the connection? Is that the thing that replaces it? Because you're in there for 7 hours for a reason, and you've lost connection for all those other things, those arguably you will say real connections, real kind of meaningful connections. So what are you there for? Is it any kind of connection? Do you know what I'm saying? We kind of need it. We all I think we all need them, So is the connection to feeling, is it like feeling something but that is the euphoria of winning or having a successful bet? Or
I don't know. I don't think
the more risky it is, and the bigger the reward is the big. And for a moment, you're on top of the world. You feel connected. You feel euphoric, whether that's closer to God or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then it's gone again. And because there isn't anything else to pick you up, there isn't any of the other connections. You just go back in again.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't necessarily the answer to the question you just said, because I don't quite know what the answer is to what you've just said. But it takes me back one step. I would walk to the betting shop in a wise mind to a degree. It wasn't over emotional at that stage. I was calm. This is what I do. This is my daily routine.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't
race driving you doing that.
Sorry?
I guess that's my point. There's something driving you to do that.
Yes.
And is that I guess what is that? What's at the end of that?
But I guess that's the key. That's the key.
Is it enlightenment? Is it, I don't know, just a hit of adrenaline? Is it? Do you know what I mean?
So
is it self-destruction as much as people strive for self-preservation? Is it
right? So
because I understand that kind of nature of the wallow and the spiral.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they're not.
Well, let me take one step back again, because I need to. I think I need to be clear on this. Is that my problems with language in terms of certain trigger words. So should, we've discussed, and okay.
Yeah.
Why is now top of my list.
Mm-hmm.
And I discussed this with my new therapist last night. And she went, that's going to make my life difficult.
That's what I'm asking now, isn't it?
Yeah. Now,
why are you doing it?
So the reason why is such a difficult, and I think I mentioned this on Tuesday, the reason why it's so difficult and becoming increasingly difficult is all I hear from that is judgment from the person asking it. So even now, when you're saying, why did you do that? And my answer in my head, and I'm trying to regulate my emotions, is I obviously haven't got a fucking clue why I did it, because all I needed to do was to walk to the betting shop as an intelligent person and go, if you don't open that door, your life will be 100% better. That's all I needed to do. Right. What I can't answer for the
wise mind bit, knowing this isn't good for me.
And I could know that 1 second before I touched the door.
Yeah.
It's like, if you touch that door and go in,
you know this.
You could lose thousands of pounds, you won't eat, you'll be upset, you'll be in debt, you'll have to get a loan, your life will be in ruins. And I pushed the door.
Is that a common trait in addicts?
Yes.
That kind of totally aware, because some people will go, they just don't know what they're doing. They're just not like me. They don't have logic and common sense and a rational brain. But I don't know. I mean, you've been in rooms full of them. Is that the same story? I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
I mean, wise mind, for want of a better.
Yeah, and that's why it's always like, I'm going to stop, and I think a lot of addicts do mean that.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy, fantastic guy, when I worked in a bail hostel, absolutely loved him. I can picture him now. And he was a crack addict, and crack at the time was fairly new to the UK and to Bristol, and we were discussing it. And obviously it's a much stronger, it was having a very big hold in Bristol. And he'd come to the bail hostel because of stealing to get money for crack. And I had a long discussion with him one night, and I went, why do you keep coming back to it? Because I'd see him before he has it, and I'd see him afterwards, and I'd be there trying to make sure he was safe and he wasn't, getting run over, and he was drinking, wasn't doing anything on top of the crack.
Yeah.
And he said, it feels like coming home. That was all he ever said about it. And he said, you can't beat that feeling. He said, like, after a holiday, after...
I guess that's where I was going. That's a connect. I guess that's where I was going.
Yeah.
If you feel close to God, it feels like coming home.
Yes.
I think everyone listening would go, that actually sounds like
a
feeling I recognise, or whether I have it a lot or haven't had it a lot.
Yeah.
It's something I think we'd all rather have.
Yes. But in wise mind, right? He'd go, although I'm going to get that feeling of coming home, I'm going to absolutely ruin my life. My arms are...
It's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
So
But the wise mind will go, I'm never going to do that again.
Yeah.
And I believe people believe it when they say it, because I believed it every single day.
And that is hard for people who don't understand this to to stop, or
Yeah.
why are you doing it to yourself? You know it's bad. Of course, that's the rub, isn't it?
Yes.
And if you haven't had any taste of that,
And
you'll never understand.
And
you'll never
especially with
understand that.
gambling, because I'm going into a betting shop in a sharp suit as a person with 2 degrees who wasn't stupid, but my emotional, maybe as you're saying, my emotional connection with my addiction outweighed anything else my brain could do.
Yeah.
And so that constant need for it. And the thing about this guy with crack, we set him a challenge and we did a load of work with him, and I can't remember what it was. We wanted to go a certain number of days with him being clean. And on, I think it was whatever day it was, day 30, he didn't come back to the bail hostel. I got a phone call. He's just been arrested breaking into a house. I went to visit him in prison. Like, what the fuck? This was day 30. He went, I was so happy that I'd done 30 days. He went, I thought I'd have some crack to celebrate. And it's like, you haven't listened. But it's like, that was the bit we said about always being in recovery. It was like that hold, I'm going to celebrate giving up crack by having crack. Yeah.
So that kind of, so the link between addiction and lack of quality connection, is it cause and effect stuff? Is it, you know, is there a common theme there? Is it where there's lack of, I guess, a meaningful or quality connection or interaction with something? We're talking connection over here. I think, you said, that could be in the form of anything.
Yeah.
But generally, if that is lacking, is there addictive tendencies in there?
It's because
people can be addicted to meaningful connections, can't they?
Yes.
And being connected and
but maybe it's realistic connections. So
or is it about so we've talked about centre before when we had Joe on the podcast. Is it that the coming home thing is kind of finding your centre? I kind of put those two things in the same place. So that could be if you just don't feel true or aligned, or do you know what I mean? Don't feel centered in yourself. I think we all have a bit of that, and we'll probably, you know, have degrees of maybe addictive tendencies, or, you know, or certain action, whether that's eating a little bit too much or drinking too much or not looking after yourself or exercising too much or going the other way. I think if we don't feel comfortable in our own skin, I can see why those things kind of take place. And I guess is that kind of where you're going with that connection bit?
I think the vicious cycle of this is that very quickly of being in that addiction. So we talked about my childhood. So it's you get a fruit machine for your birthday. You go into betting shops with your gran. You go onto the arcades every time you're there. You work in a betting shop. So for all those stages, this is just part of my life, and this is a connection. This is what the family do. We gamble, or we do this, or we do that. And you asked on the last one, sort of, when did it click? And I think when it clicked, I don't know the day or the year when it clicked, but what I do know is that when it clicked, addiction became my reality. So that was my life, and everything else was fitting around the addiction. Whereas before, I had a life, but I just spent too long in a betting shop. When it got to dire consequences, the whole every element
that isn't overnight, is it? None of that could be overnight, really.
No. But then also the actions of what you're doing then have the ripples of repercussion. So if I'm in the betting shop for 7 hours,
karma kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't it?
You have to pay a price for it. So when I left the betting shop, I would have to do things like change my clothes, because in those days,
the admin to support I guess the lies you just talked about,
and that was a whole host of lies. So you're in a betting shop where it's the smokiest atmosphere in the world. So I stank of smoke. So if I'm getting into a car, or I'm going back to the office, and people go, he doesn't smoke. He's probably been down the pub. That's the sort of natural thing. But you can't smell of smoke in a non-smoking environment without people going, you smell of smoke. Then there's the bit, like I was saying before, of having to try and cut off things like bank statements or credit cards or loan sharks, having to leave work at a certain time, or even leave the betting shop on sometimes, get on a motorbike, drive back and intercept a letter or intercept a phone call or intercept someone coming to your door. And then getting into the situation of going like, I can't just rip a letter up, I've got to burn it. So I'm there with like a little fire pit in the garden, burning letters, then burning betting slips, then leaving a betting slip in your suit pocket and suddenly realising it's being taken to the dry cleaners, or realising, you know, all those things. So your life then becomes so chaotic to cover up for those 7 hours that the other 17 hours in the day are just a reflection of that chaos. It isn't like I've come out to the betting shop, now I can get back. The real world doesn't exist anymore.
And as messy as that gets, you kind of want the escape. You want, which is the thing that's causing that admin in the first place.
Yes.
And that's your spiral, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're spending 7 hours getting away from that crap, or trying to fix that crap.
And like I was saying, the mental effect, the biggest mental, and I can remember that, I mean, obviously the mental effect was ridiculous in so many aspects, and now I know that I've got borderline, that adds to it, but it was things like, I can remember saying to you, I became convinced that my thoughts were so strong and my pain was so strong that it could physically seep outside my head, that people could be next to me and know what I'm thinking. Yeah. So I started to build basically a safe in my head that became a monstrous spaceship to contain my thoughts. And I would lie in bed, or I would be at a restaurant building this Millennium Falcon. I don't know if that is a big spaceship, but something massive, so that the people around me, my addiction was so strong, I thought it seeped out of me, and people was going to go, oh, I've just picked something up off the table.
What's that?
This is your thought.
Yeah.
And so I'm building, and I can visualize it now. And it was big, and it was grey, and I can visualize to keep my thoughts in.
A coping mechanism.
So then sleep maybe wasn't as, as it should be. Yeah. And this is 20 plus years, and so it does take its toll.
Yeah, right.
Which comes on to the bit that you were saying about always being in recovery, because
the legacy of that.
Yeah, and I still want to gamble, big time.
Yeah. Sometimes you talk to me and you go, you text me about corners on the football. I'm like, I didn't even know that you could bet for how many corners are in a football match.
I started doing.
You'd worked it all out for the Euros, didn't you? And you were like,
I made £22,000 in a night.
Yeah.
And that was by doing them.
And if only I understood what the hell you were talking about.
Well, it's the worst thing in the world. That would be the worst thing in the world. Even if I'd said to you, I'm going to pass on my knowledge. I've done some research into this.
I've talked about that before, haven't I? You know, just testing the kind of would you ever, and you'd be like, no.
Yeah,
no, because you might as well do it. It's you talk the logic, and you know for well I'm not going to go and put a bet on because it's going in one ear out the other. But it's constant, isn't it?
Yeah,
for you.
So there was something, and this is that is the word, constant. So even subconsciously, I recognise I'm gambling with. So this is how convoluted my life is. There was a match the other day. It was West Ham against possibly Chelsea.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And there was a large number of corners. I looked after about an hour, and there was something like 13 corners, which is a large number of corners. And I went, I wonder if that's because of West Ham's attacking style. So I looked back and went, oh, they've got 2 wing backs, and they've got Bowen, and he gets a lot of blah, blah, blah. So I went back and looked at 3 or 4 matches. West Ham matches have a lot of corners. Driving over today, just had a little look. West Ham are playing Arsenal. I'm going, yeah, Arsenal are a bit, not so good at the back. And will they cope well with this? And I'm going, then I look and it's like, the bookies are going, we think there'll be 9 corners. And I'm going, no.
It's going to be more than that.
There's going to be more than 9 corners.
Yeah.
Now, whether there is or whether there isn't makes no difference.
Yeah.
But part of my brain has been taken up with something that
well, you're looking at the odds and you're working out the return and all that.
Yeah,
aren't you?
And I'm thinking I've beaten them already.
Yeah.
I think there'll be more than 9 corners in them, and I will check in a minute. And if there are, I'll just go, yeah, I've beaten them.
Yes,
but I won't resent not putting it on.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm not in that position. So it's ideation rather than doing it.
Yeah.
But I think if we're going to give hints and tips, I think there's this acknowledgement that anyone who's listening that has an addiction probably knows that it's still festering away. It's a bit like cold sores, isn't it? They come up when you run down.
We can't switch that shit off. You just can't switch it off.
No
chance.
Especially if you've got that sort of mind that's going to...
It's pre-programmed in many, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's so many triggers. And I think that's the worry for me now, is that the triggers... I think this is the final thing that we said there about new forms of addictions.
We do have the personal recollections bit.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's kind of... Is there anything to kind of cover off on that unless you kind of put that in.
I mean, we could do it.
Logic,
but we could. I suppose that's about not opening the door.
Yeah, sure. You're okay.
I mean, I can give you plenty of gangster-related problems with my gambling, or the.
You've given me a couple off air.
Yeah,
I'm not sure they're fit for purpose.
Or also, I mean, I suppose maybe a sort of milder one, which I won't do now, but it was about how you contrive to get in a betting shop. You know, literally going to friends for a weekend.
Yeah.
And going, oh, I've just remembered I need, you know, a claw hammer because you found out that there's a bookies next to the hardware shop. Going in,
make sure you come back with that claw.
Oh
hammer,
no, because you go in the bookies first because you then gamble it all and hope you've kept £4 for the claw hammer. Then having to go in and shoplift. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So if you do gamble all your money and your excuse is I'm going to buy something, then I would shoplift, and it's like, oh, like buy the hammer first.
Yeah, because you couldn't go back and go all fresh out.
Yeah,
you couldn't have done that.
Yeah, they're making some more.
Yeah, so new additions all the time. The threat of AI. We've talked about Mr. Zuckerberg already, but was that one of the kind of? I mean, obviously that is pretty much his business strategy, isn't it?
Yes, the metaverse
to create. Well, I mean, it's dopamine on. I was going to say steroids. That's probably an inappropriate.
Well, it's on tap.
But it's gone to. It's just taken that. Oh, I've got a few notifications. I've got the little red dot on the notifications. I'm like, I'm going to create. You know, and we're going to create virtual worlds.
Yes.
And talk about the fear of missing out, and dopamine hits and anticipation. All the things we've talked about, escapism. We've talked about lack of connection.
Yeah.
But all his thing has always been, I want to connect the world.
Yes.
And you could argue he is.
Yeah.
Technically, digitally. But he's removing real. Don't get me wrong. You know, virtual spaces for some people is a great way to connect. People are gaming, connecting. I get all that, and it's changing some people's lives. People who don't come out of their shells, all that. I'm not knocking it, but there's always another side to everything, isn't there? Mm-hmm. And with this, you're creating worlds inside a world.
Yes.
Almost that because this one isn't good enough. This one doesn't have enough connections. It's not meaningful enough. Therefore, we've got to do it down a computer because our imaginations can. You know what I mean? It's a weird, isn't it? It's a little bit like back to what we've talked about with the film WALL-E.
Yes.
When they go off to another planet, it's like this world's shit now. It's dust. Fuck it. We're off.
Yeah.
It's much better up there. There's screens and tight leotards, and we'll all drink, slush puppies on a flying lilo.
But isn't it the case that addictive behaviour now? Use the word normalisation. Addictive behaviour now is, I would go as far as to say it's encouraged.
Yeah.
So, if you just think of the things
we've already talked about gorging on.
On box
food. Oh no, I was talking about booze and food at Christmas.
Yeah,
just eat until you can't move and drink until you can't see.
Yeah. I did a bit of research today because I wanted to put an Insta story up about obesity, and what I wanted to say is this country and America and Mexico and other countries are full of people who are overweight and obese. And one of the things it said on the Peter McCullough podcast is that there was a scalability in terms of obesity. They've even done some research that say that the virus actually almost targets, I don't know whether it's fat cells or, overweight, whatever it is. I don't know the exact details. But this guy goes, it's scalable. If you're 40 pounds overweight, it'll get worse if you're 100 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
And nobody that I can see in mainstream media is going, people, you're too fat, and because you're fat and because you're obese and because you're eating processed food, you are more likely to die. And that's the truth. But no one is saying
before the pandemic. That was the
But it's even higher now. And if you know your citizens are dying because or more likely to die, you would say, and I know this is used a lot on the COVID thing about seatbelts. Seatbelts were introduced to stop people being in a risky situation and to stop them dying. So if someone's obese and you don't give them the equivalent of a seatbelt and just allow them to be obese or allow them to keep eating processed food or not give them the education or the support or free entry to gyms or dietitians, and they continue obese, they are more likely to die. So that's a government which is meant to serve us going, go ahead and die.
Yeah.
And it isn't being part of a conversation, and I can't understand. And I'm suddenly hearing Norway, Thailand, other countries are banning alcohol. New Zealand's going to ban tobacco, but no one's going, more and more people are dying because they're obese, that not in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
The government put 31 million, they're spending that a day on tests.
Yeah, right.
And that's all they put into the obesity program.
Yeah.
So I guess the point I'm making about that, about the normalisation of all the activities.
But I think encouragement isn't too hard, strong a word. I don't think it is. You're actively encouraged to, I'd say by not saying anything, you're encouraged. Because we're told to not do things, or do this and do that. Things that we're not being told about, I would argue, you game on, right? Encouragement. And then there's all the messages and the advertising and that kind of thing. I get all that.
Yeah.
It's encouragement. I think encouragement is anything that you're not being told not to do. It's like, it's the path of least resistance, isn't it? There's more food in the supermarket than you can. It's not about food. This isn't just about food. There's other things, but that was your example. But I think just in the recent articles, I think Javid was up going, this is the only option we have. Yes, it's a binary thing, isn't it? Take vaccines. We've exhausted everything else. Yeah, you haven't. Yeah. You haven't even started on the other things. I haven't seen anything about encouraging. What about all the people that we talked about surviving? I'm a survivor, by the way. Did I say? About my survivor's badge. Yeah. Why don't they go, okay, let's look at let's look at the people who have and why they may have. Yes. I don't know. Isn't that a good place to start? Yeah. Well, it's like vitamin D. Last year, don't it was given to 2.5 million people. That program has been taken away this year. Yeah, exactly. So what? Vitamin D deficiency isn't a thing anymore. Has that disappeared in 12 months? And you said it before. No one's standing up behind a lectern going, "Get fresh air. Yeah. Look after yourself. Drink more water. Watch what you eat." Why wouldn't you do that? Peloton are doing a better job of that. Yeah. Telling you to get active and get sweaty in your front room. It doesn't need to be preaching. There are some people who, because of their position, are going to go, it isn't just that easy to go to the gym. It isn't that easy to have these foods. Then subsidise good food. Put on education for people. Allow people to have some options. Explain how you can do something to help individuals. This isn't about me stigmatising people, but it's basically, if you're more likely to die, then the government and all the health authorities have a duty to help you not to die. And that's what they do on every other element of life. But I think at the moment, obesity is like, stay in, get Zap or Uber Eats to deliver whatever you want, binge on box sets. And to me, a lot of that is now addiction. You say to certain people, they'll go, I have this every day, or I eat this, or I drink this every day. They don't see it as addiction because it's so normalised. Yeah, that's right, yeah. I have a bottle of wine a day. I'm not addicted to it. Okay, don't drink for a month. Well, I'll do half of January, but that's all you're getting out of me. Yeah. So I think it's that steady creep. And the one other thing about AI, which I think you put your finger on, is that I think what AI will do, especially the whole thing with Zuckerberg, is allow people to get rid of all the barriers and constraints of real life. And it's already happening on sexual. Going into AI and virtual reality on sex, you can basically be or do whatever you want. You take that with 5 years further AI development, and you will have carte blanche to do anything as your avatar. Yeah. Anything. Yeah. And it isn't a big step if we're going back to The Martian. No. Someone doing gaming at the moment. Yeah, come on, bring him back, come on. Yeah. Well, you're going to go, what's this guy doing? He's murdering people, but it's a game because it's entertainment. What's he actually doing? Yeah, he's shooting hundreds of people and blowing their heads off. How old is he? He's 11, but he really likes it and it keeps him quiet. Yeah. And he has his Coke and he does the gaming. It's anything that calms him down. Yeah. Yeah. But in 5 years' time, when you're in the metaverse, you're not going to be looking at a gaming. You're going to be in that gaming. Yeah. And you're going to believe your actions are killing people or having sex with people or abusing people. And there isn't any law in the metaverse. You can do what you want. Yeah. It's only your imagination that restricts you. And that's going to be addiction gone mad. And I think that's the most worrying thing. It's like, it's behind closed doors. You can do what you want. Yeah, do you know I said that present might not be appropriate? It was one of those VR headsets. Yeah. It was the...
It was a season ticket for West Ham. The seat's right by the corner flag. And the calculator.
It's like you're really there.
Yes.
All those bubbles.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to have to wind up, Mark.
Yeah.
That was good.
Good.
I hope so. I mean, it's not for me.
There's a lot there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
I think we might need a third, which is like some hints and tips.
Hints and tips.
Well, there isn't a lot there about going...
Your takeaways.
Yeah. What's your just say no?
Kids, like Zamo. Yeah, but no, I think we can. We can certainly follow it up.
Yeah, maybe not a full section, but just maybe, just one or two things that can work, perhaps.
Talking delivery, we'll have some takeaways in the next episode, right? So that's it for this episode. Well done for getting this far, and thanks for listening. Remember, you can follow us on the socials by searching for imfinecast, and feel free to drop us a line at imfinecast@gmail.com. In the next episode, well, we've just said, haven't we? Just said what we might do. I've got a couple of protein vanilla yogurt.
It's the future.
Could you literally not get through another minute without having a go on that? You're addicted.
It's just getting a bit warm. Are we going to do one in 2 weeks, do you reckon?
You said that was really loaded. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I'll try not to let you down.
Well, it's Christmas, New Year. No, it's been me as well.
2 weeks.
I did that.
No, that's all right. 2 weeks. So that was quite defensive of me, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's the COVID talking. I'm still not over it. It's a good excuse.
You're surviving but struggling. You're a warrior though for doing it.
Yeah, I know. Big bad boy. 2 weeks. 2 weeks is Christmas, isn't it?
Between Christmas and New Year, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Is it last week? Is it last Christmas? I didn't
last
fly
Christmas
by,
of the
did
year.
it? That's yeah. It's last week. Is it Christmas next week?
Must be next Saturday. I don't know.
Okay. So I'm away. Well, we'll have. We don't need to do
You're
air
away.
Huh?
You're away. My gym's bloody shut on Christmas
We're
Day.
saying I'm
It's
away.
a 24/7 gym, and it's shut on Christmas Day.
Well, it's not a 24/7 gym then, is
No.
it? Have a
Get my
word.
money back.
You're gonna get what a day's worth of it. What's the
I'm paying
workout?
£5 a month. There was a glitch on the computer.
What would that give you back? 20p.
£5. Yeah.
You'd work that out. Go on, work that out. How much you get back? £5 a month.
66666.
Like a human abacus. I can edit this bit, make you look really good. 6p. What?
No.
66. No. 60p.
It's about 18.5p, isn't it?
Why are you asking me? I don't know anything.
Yeah, 18.5p.
Okay. Got there in the end. That's pretty quick. I wouldn't have worked
It
out.
wasn't. I'm disappointed.
Do you want me to edit that?
No.
Okay.
I'm just sad with
This is
myself.
as we are. We're kind of,
Free flowing.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
How long was this?
We haven't finished yet.
Okay. Joe Rogan
This
does
stuff
3
we do
hours. Can we do a 3-hour one?
Yeah, I'm sure we could.
Okay.
I mean,
good. Not tonight.
we've just done an hour, coming up to an hour 18.
Okay.
Anyway, should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Well, I hope we will see you at Christmas time. There we are. I've said it, therefore it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Cool.
All right, see you then. Bye.
Yeah, bye.